Capital One, and it starts at the very top. She can get on base, she can produce runs, and she hit a 2-run home run yesterday.
And so far in this year's NCAA tournament, she's just 6 for 10 with 4 home runs. Just the tone setter right there at the top of this Oklahoma lineup. Had that big home run yesterday. Moved into the leadoff spot a couple of weeks ago, but she has thrived, setting the tone for the rest of this offense.
So you can see the flags blowing out towards center, and the crowd coming to their feet. Game 2 of this 3-game series. That means Oklahoma, the visiting team, Alabama, the home team, and the crowd here packed into Love's Field and ready to go. A win for Oklahoma, and they head up the road to OKC in the Women's College World Series. And the first pitch, ball 1 from Riley to Pickering, first team all-conference selection in the SEC. You see what she's done in her NCAA tournament career. 2 seasons, 18 games, hit her 10th home run, and she's done it in 47 at-bats. Robbie Guest calls a strike. It's 1-1.
Mid-60s, even to upper 60s with that drop ball is what you're going to see from Caitlin Riley. Likes to work it on both sides of the plate, but the key for her today, along with that drop ball, is to mix speeds. You're going to see her throw 2 different types of off-speed pitches. She throws an off-speed curveball, and she throws more of a traditional changeup, and she is going to have to use all of those today and really rely on that infield defense behind her to make some plays.
Ahead in the count to Pickering, 1-2. Tried to check her swing, did not. Called out by the plate umpire. No check at the third base umpire spot. Strikeout for Riley, 1 down.
Riley goes back down in the zone, 67 miles per hour. This hard drop ball starts at the knees, ends up down at the ground. Let's take a look at the side swing here. Pretty close, maybe. Went on that one. Probably could have gone either way.
I'll bring up Ella Parker. Ball 1. That was strikeout number 64 on the season for Riley in 117 innings of work. Not a big strikeout pitcher, as Madison mentioned. Throw that drop, put it in play, and let your excellent defense for Alabama go to work. Just 3 errors committed in the last 13 games for Alabama.
And that was an area that they really worked on right about the middle of the season, kind of a turning point for them. You look back at some of the games in the early part of the year, a lot of walks, a lot of free passes, and a lot of defensive mistakes made along with them. And that's ultimately what led to some big innings for the opponents. So for Coach Patrick Murphy, a point of emphasis for them was to, 1, limit the walks, but also to shore up the defense. Have to be able to give your pitchers confidence when they're out there in the circle that you're going to be able to make those routine plays.
Inside for ball 3, 3-1 to Parker, who was 1 for 3 on Friday, 4 for 13 in the NCAA tournament with a home run, but that's not lowercase home run, that's all caps home run.
A couple of exclamation points home run.
Big swing, 3-2 now to the sophomore. Well, getting off to a good start, vital, of course, in an elimination game, but it has been a struggle for Riley. She gets off to a good start here. Good things happening, and good things happening here for Parker. Sends it down to the corner, looking 2 all the way. Little bobble in the right field corner. It's a 1-out double for Ella Parker.
Ella Parker swung and missed on an off-speed pitch earlier in this at-bat. Caitlin Riley goes back to that same off-speed, so it's 58 miles per hour, a little bit of upspin on this. Watch the defense shift over to the right side of the field. Salin Hawkins, the shortstop, moves all the way over to the right side of the field, and Ella Parker is still able to hit into the shift, end up with a double over at second base. All of those off-speed pitches, the defense anticipating that the lefties in the lineup are going to pull it to the right side.
Swinging at the first pitch is Sydney Barker, played by Salin Hawkins at shortstop, 2 down. Just 1 error for Alabama's defense in the NCAA tournament. After a slow start in that category, they have shored up the defense, and it's a big reason why they're in the position they are right now, playing in the Super Regional round in Norman. Here's Gabby Garcia. She takes ball 1. Garcia, the outstanding freshman shortstop for Oklahoma, second team all-conference selection in the SEC, 18 home runs, which is tied with Pickering for the team lead. Rounded to first. Duke's got it, and it is a very good first inning for Caitlin Riley. Outside of that double, scoreless. Here comes Bama to the plates. Pitched a complete game shutout yesterday for Oklahoma. Now it's Kirsten Deal in the circle for the Sooners.
Kirsten Deal's been throwing some good innings for Oklahoma recently, and coming into this ball game, going to be a different look than what Alabama saw from Sam Landry yesterday. Of course, the first thing, her coming from the left side, but the same game plan for the Oklahoma pitching staff in today's ball game. You're doing whatever you can to try to prevent the speed from getting on the base path, because that's what Alabama wants to do. They want to be able to utilize somebody like Audrey Vandegrift to wreak havoc on the base path. So for the pitchers, very important to try to minimize that speed threat and try to get them out in the batter's box.
Take a look at the Alabama lineup presented by Capital One. Vandegrift and Johnson need to get on base to give Hevelin a shot.
Hevelin had a nice double in yesterday's ball game, but you're exactly right, Eric. You got to be able to set the table for somebody like Callie Hevelin, who's come through in big spots all season long for Alabama. You want her to be able to come up to the batter's box with runners on board to try to get some runs up early for Alabama.
It starts with the freshman, Vandegrift, who steps in against Kirsten Deal and takes ball one. A little peek from Emmerling back to the plate umpire, Robbie Guest, wondering where that pitch was, and you can tell the crowd was there to support the catcher for Oklahoma. That's out of play. It's 1-1.
Kirsten Deal, the lefty, you're going to see her throw that curveball to both sides of the plate. That's the pitch that she's going to throw consistently in the mid-60s. Likes to work up in the zone with the rise ball as well, but her ability to mix speeds with her different off-speed pitches, has more of a traditional changeup, also has an off-speed curveball that she's going to work in there as well.
Just missed, and it's 2-1. Vandegrift at 399 on the season. That means she has dropped under the 400 mark for the first time in her career. Against Washington in her collegiate debut was 2 for 3. Never dropped under 400 until here in Norman when she went 0 for 3 yesterday.
She's had an outstanding season so far for the Crimson Tide. 50 stolen bases on the year. And you know she's hoping to be able to add to that stolen base tally in today's ball game.
Counts full, 3-2. Blazing speed with Vandegrift. If she knocks something on the ground, odds are Oklahoma will be hard pressed to get her at first, but this Oklahoma defense, outstanding. 3-2. Little bloop out to left field. He'll stay up there for Pickering, who's got it. One away. Just feels like the more that Oklahoma can keep Patrick Murphy's leadoff hitter in the dugout and not on the base paths, huge advantage for Oklahoma.
Well, we've been talking about it right from the beginning of the year for Alabama. They want to be able to put pressure on the defense with their speed, but you can't do that until you get on the base paths and set the table for some of the other hitters in your lineup. So I guarantee that's a big point of emphasis for Oklahoma. Keep Vandegrift off the bases.
Ball one to Lauren Johnson. 0 for 3 yesterday. 344 on the season. Sophomore playing left field. Looking to bunch her way on. Fouls it off for strike one. Johnson 3 for 13. 3 runs batted in the NCAA tournament. Tournament began in Tuscaloosa with Alabama going 3-0 in the Tuscaloosa Regional. Wins over Jackson State and defeating Virginia Tech twice. It's up for a ball, 2-1. Deal did pitch in that series against Alabama, where the Crimson Tide took 2 out of 3 in the regular season. Made a start, went 2 1/3, gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs. 2 innings pitched in the regional round here in Norman. It's in there for a strike. It's 2-2. Popped up Shallow right field. Barker calls for it. 2 down.
Going to see a lot of those fly ball outs too when Kirsten Deal's out there in the circle with that curve ball, the off speeds, and that rise ball combination.
Take a look at how things lay out defensively at the start for Oklahoma. Patty Gasso will shuffle things up in the outfield a little bit, as we see late in the game. That paid off with Hannah Core making a terrific catch in the 7th inning for the Sooners. Ball 1 to Hevelin. Callie having a great final season in Tuscaloosa, second-team all-conference selection in the SEC, leading the team with 14 home runs. Emmerling wants to go out and talk to Deal.
At the same time, Coach Patrick Murphy going to have a chat with Evelyn and Alexis Papillo, who's over there in the on-deck circle. When you look at Callie Hevelin's numbers, too, over the course of this season, she's improved in every offensive category, but really minimizing the amount of strikeouts. Last year had 37 strikeouts. This year, just 16 strikeouts on the season. 17 strikeouts after yesterday's ball game.
That misses for a ball. That was just interesting because while the catcher went to talk to the pitcher, Patrick Murphy talked to Hevelin and to the on-deck hitter, Alexis Papillo, and Murphy said, go tell them, and Alexis sprinted over and walked down the dugout, passing along the message from Murphy about something he's seeing with the pitcher for Oklahoma.
That's where you're gaining information every single pitch, and you can watch film, and even having played against Oklahoma earlier this year, you're still trying to figure out what their game plan is coming into this ball game. What pitches are they going to go after your offense with? And that's where you want to be able to translate that information to your teammates as quickly as possible.
3-0 to Hevelin. It's in there for a strike. Well, Murphy, after yesterday's loss, said game 1 of a 3-game series is when you gather information. There's information gathering in game 2 as well, apparently, because you have to win 2.
It never stops.
It never stops. You have to win 2 games. It's a simple statement, but as we've seen with Alabama the last 2 years, as Hevelin walks with 2 down, they've dropped the opener in the Super Regional round each of the last 2 years, came back to win the Super to advance on to OKC.
And I think that's a matter, too, of being able to gather that information, but also to be able to go up there and execute the game plan. You can have all the information in the entire world, but when you step into the batter's box, who can go up there and go after the pitch that you're supposed to in that situation, or hunt the one speed that you're looking for in those high-pressure moments, especially in a game like today with your season on the line.
Papillo swings at the first pitch, ground ball to second. Agbayani over to Sanders, and that will do it for Alabama in the first. Scoreless after 1 in Norman. We're talking about the 2025 season in February, and a lot of questions were about Oklahoma losing all those great players. Like, there's no way they can be in a position to win a 5th straight national championship, yet here we are.
And I think it just quite simply comes down to the fact that they graduated such a big senior class, and a senior class that had done something that nobody else in the sport of softball had done, winning 4 consecutive national championships in a row. It's a lot of new faces that are going to be coming into the program. Going to have to rely on a lot of freshmen, some transfers coming in, and even players that were a part of the squad last year, players like Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering now moving up into their sophomore seasons. Just a lot of unknowns coming into this year for Oklahoma. But all they did was move over to the SEC and win an SEC title.
Even Patty Gasso was shaking her head when we were talking to her about this week. Like, she was reminding herself and almost saying it out loud that they won the SEC championship, and we talked all year about the gauntlet that the SEC was all year, every weekend. 4-pitch walk to Nelly Macaron-Marinas to start things in the 2nd inning for the defending national champions. 4-time defending national champions. I corrected it in time, I think. I don't want Sooner Nation.
4 in a row.
Her name is Madison Shipman if you're reaching out on social media.
Make sure you get it right. 4 in a row for the Oklahoma Sooners.
Here's a big part of that championship run a season ago. Sid Sanders. Little roll around in front of the plate. Plenty of time for Riley to make the play. Moving on to second is McEnroe Marinas, one away here in the second.
Almost like a swinging sacrifice bunt
Yes.
there from Sydney Sanders. Does the job, moves the runner over into scoring position. And those ground balls that are hit off at the end of the bat are a product, again, of those off-speed pitches that you're seeing from Caitlin Riley. The spin on them looks very similar to that curveball that she'll bring in there in the mid-60s, but it's hard to recognize when that pitch is coming in out of the hand.
Here is Alana Akbayani, junior second baseman, who takes ball one. They talked about the new faces. You have to hit in the transfer portal in this day and age. That counts for Oklahoma as well. And Patty Gasso has had success in the portal. Agbayani, all-conference selection, all-defensive team in the SEC, moving over from BYU, where she played the last couple of years. Starting catcher, Isabella Emmerling, played at North Carolina. And, of course, the ace of the staff, Sam Landry, coming over from Louisiana. 2-1. Agbayani at .333 on the season. 0 for 3 yesterday. Lays off, and it's 3-1. We talked about it earlier, Riley with that success in Tuscaloosa against Oklahoma. Different setting here, season on the line and playing in front of 4,000 plus at Loves Field. Ground ball right side, gathered by Hevelin. 2 down, McEnroe Marinas to third.
Productive out there by Agbayani to still advance Nelly McEnroe Marinas over to third base. Even her communicating in there to Isabella Emmerling, who's stepping up to batter's box right now. Looked like she was trying to tell her, look, middle, look, middle of the zone, something that you could crush out to the grass.
Emmerling swinging a miss for strike one. Slumping at the plate, 1 for 21 her last 11 games, 0 for 2 yesterday, 0 for 4 in the NCAA tournament. She has walked 3 times and been hit twice in the NCAA tournament. Count now 1-1. Two and one. McEnroe Marinas had a leadoff walk. Sanders a ground out. Agbayani a ground out. And now 2-2 to count to the number 8 hitter, Isabella Emmerling. Riley with the 2-2. Good job by Giles back behind the plate with the runner down at third base, and the count's now full. Certainly no let up in the Alabama lineup when you look at who's on deck in Abigail Dayton. And she'll get a chance here. It's a 2-out walk, runners on the corners for the Sooners.
To your point, Eric, Abigail Dayton had a great game in yesterday's ball game. Had a walk in the third inning, ended up coming around to score on that Cassidy Pickering 2-run home run out to center field, and then had a double to start things off in the 5th inning, and again came around to score on that Sydney Barker base hit.
Dayton 4 for 6 in the NCAA tournament, and Riley starts her with strike one. One thing that won't show up on the stat page, and Patty Gasso mentioned it about Abigail Dayton, she just wants us to win. And secondarily, she wants to get on for Cassidy Pickering, because when you get on for Cassidy Pickering, odds are you're going to score thanks to Cassidy Pickering. Dayton with 6 runs scored in the tournament. Back up the middle, she delivers again. Oklahoma scores the first run of the game, a 1-0 Sooners.
When you're the Oklahoma Sooners and you're getting production quite literally top to bottom in your order, Abigail Dayton has stepped up in the 9th spot for Oklahoma, comes up with a huge 2-out base hit. These are the moments offensively you want to capitalize. A couple of free passes in this inning. You got the feeling that this was a time that Oklahoma needed to get on the board, and it's Abigail Dayton coming through yet again.
Strike one to Pickering. First and second with 2 down. Truly, that was the difference in the game yesterday. Oklahoma wins 3-0. They had 2 timely hits. Alabama could not come up with a timely hit yesterday. Crimson Tide were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, 0 for 10 with runners on base, period. Pickering knows how to get on base. Watches the ball, it's 1-2.
And it was great getting to listen to Abigail Dayton after that game yesterday, right before the home run. She said that her and Cassidy Pickering were talking, and she said, I'm going to get on base and you're going to move me over, was what Pickering said to Dayton. And Dayton said, no, I'm going to get on and you're going to drive me in.
Ground ball right side, good hop for Hevelin on the first. And that will do it for Oklahoma. But the Sooners score in the second on top 1-0 after 1.5. Knocking off Florida State in Tallahassee to earn the first spot in Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series.
Seeing a couple of these super regionals already go to game 3s as well. Clemson and Texas going to have game 3 tonight. Florida and Georgia going to a game 3 as well.
I would tell everybody to get your nap in, but there's no time to get the nap in because we're wall-to-wall softball today.
Game after game after game. That's what you love to see in the postseason. One high-pressure, high-stakes game after another.
Texas with that victory in 10 innings. Tegan Cavan came on, went 5 2/3 in relief, didn't give up a run, struck out 7 through 98 pitches, so throwing back-to-back days. That evened up that series with Clemson down in Austin.
That one's been a battle between those two teams, too. Extra inning game. Some nice defensive plays made, too. Katie Stewart moving out to left field, made that great throw into second base to Katie Bennett, who had to reach back behind her to apply the tag to the runner that was trying to advance to second.
Katie Bennett, who was in left field, then played second base, and Leanne Good at shortstop. That little shell game worked out pretty well for Texas in the end.
Leanne made some great plays at short, along with some clutch, timely hits. Another home run for her, too.
Fouled off by Brooke Elstad. Counts 2-2. Senior third baseman who played at Louisiana the last 3 years. Teammate of Sam Landry, who picked up the win for Oklahoma yesterday. Elstad was 0 for 2 against Landry on Friday. 2-2 from Deal. Little bloop to left. Pickering is there. 1 down here in the second. Alabama was out-hit in the regional by Virginia Tech, but found a way to win that regional. A couple of 1-run wins over the Hokies. You can see against Oklahoma, 174. And against Patrick Murphy talking about it. Timely hit wasn't there. They had runners in scoring position, 5 total, but 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position yesterday in the 3-0 loss. And if you think about it, Madison, you give up 3 runs to Oklahoma, that's good. That's one of the lowest scoring games of the season for the Sooners. But they just could not scratch anything out in back-to-back hits fashion.
Yeah, I thought Jocelyn Brisky did a great job in the circle, keeping Alabama in that game, giving her offense a chance to be able to win that game 1.
That's a line shot and a fair ball. Saylin Hawkins sends it down into the corner. She'll jog towards second with a stand-up double with 1 out in the second for the Crimson Tide. After 0 for 3 yesterday against Landry, Hawkins gets her first hit of the Super Regional.
These are the types of swings, these are the types of hits that Alabama needs to see in today's ball game. This one looked like a curveball working in on the hands, and Saylin Hawkins just turns on this one, drives it straight down that left field line for a double with 1 away here in the bottom of the second.
Marley Giles steps in for Alabama with a runner in scoring position and 1 down. Giles 1 for 2 with a walk yesterday. I don't know how we top that, but we're going to try. Wow, UCLA pulls it out in Columbia over South Carolina. Walk-off fashion for Jordan Woolery. Welcome to Norman and Loves Field. Eric Freed, the three-time All-American at Tennessee. Madison Shipman here with you. It's 1-0 Oklahoma as Alabama bats in the bottom half of the second inning. Alabama needs a win here in game 2, but Oklahoma jumps out first.
Abigail Dayton in the 9th spot for the Oklahoma Sooners, stepping up yet again after a leadoff walk to Nelly McEnroe Marinas to start off the second inning. It's Abigail Dayton coming through with that clutch 2-out hit up the middle to give Oklahoma the 1-0 lead.
Alabama with a threat against Kirsten Deal. And there's a strike to Marley Giles with one down here in the second. Salem Hawkins with a 1-out double. Giles at the plate. Alabama was shut out by Sam Landry. Yesterday they had their chances, but they were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position in the 3-0 loss. Deal getting the start today for Oklahoma. That's called a strike, and it's 3-2.
Kirsten Deal working her way back from a 3-0 count. Brings it to a full count here with a curveball on the inside part of the plate.
Time is called as Giles and Murphy will chat in the third base coach's box, and Emmerling and Deal will have a conversation out in the circle. Evelyn walked in the first for Alabama. That's all you miss for Bama in the bottom half of the first inning. Hawkins with the double. Caitlin Riley in the circle for Alabama today. She's had great success against Oklahoma this year, trying to repeat it here with Alabama's season on the line. Oklahoma with the win advances to the Women's College World Series for a 9th straight year. Patty Gasso's team has won 17 straight games in the Super Regional rounds. Good battle by Giles. Fouls it off. We'll do the 3-2 again.
Pretty heads up by the fans, too. They immediately looked up because it hit the top and came straight back down.
Got to be heads up when it comes off that overhand. 8th pitch of the at-bat. Two on for Alabama with 1 out in the second. The Women's College World Series returning to where else? Oklahoma City. The action starts Thursday at noon Eastern Time. You'll see it live on ESPN. For more information on the 2025 Women's College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Texas Tech will be in Oklahoma City. It looked like South Carolina was going to be in Oklahoma City until about 20 minutes ago before that wild comeback by UCLA. The walk-off win for the Bruins, forcing a Game 3 tomorrow in Columbia.
Yeah, Jordan Woolery said not today. Her 23rd home run on the season. The Bruins win that one in walk-off fashion. They ended up scoring 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to keep their season alive.
Pitching coach Jen Rocha heading out to talk to Deal.
Some action over in the Oklahoma bullpen, too. Peyton Monticelli getting loose for the Sooners. Coach Jen Rocha always does such a great job with her pitchers year after year, developing them to always improving throughout the pitcher's career.
Staff ERA 2.70, but in the NCAA tournament, .64. Opponents hitting just .205 against Rocha's staff through 4 tournament games. Deal making her 2nd appearance of the 2025 NCAA tournament, facing Abby Dukeshire, the number 8 hitter for Alabama. who takes a strike. It's 1-1.
Ducher, a batter with a lot of power for Alabama. 7 home runs this year. A lot of pull power to that left side.
One and two to Ducher. 0 for 1, hit by a pitch yesterday. 0 for 7 in the NCAA tournaments. Up high for a ball. You're just joining us. Overcast skies. No rain in the forecast at the moment. Temperatures hovering right around 80 degrees, but you see those flags. They've been swirling a bit. Now heading out towards right here at Loves Field. 4,000 plus on hands. That's fouled off.
Ducher had one at bat against Kirsten Deal in that series earlier this year. Ended up working her way to a 3-1 count, then got hit by a pitch when Kirsten Deal was trying to run that curveball in on the hands, just let it get too far away from her.
Two down. First strikeout for Deal.
And it's another big out in this super regional for the Oklahoma pitching staff with Alabama runners in scoring position. She goes upstairs with this rise ball, and Abby Ducher just swings well underneath that pitch. What a time for the first strikeout on the afternoon for Kirsten Deal.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Larissa Pruitt. Takes ball 1. Pruitt was 1 for 3 on Friday. Could have been 2 for 3, but she was robbed of a hit in the 7th inning on a fine defensive play by Hannah Core in center field. 3 for 11 in the NCAA tournament. In the dirt, blocked by Emmerling, 2-0.
Really nice job by Emmerling back behind the plate, too, because, you know, Alabama's a team. They want to try to capitalize. If that ball skips away from her, I guarantee you're going to see Alabama be aggressive on the base paths and try to advance that extra 60 feet.
Inside corner for a strike, 2-1 now to Pruitt. Deal making the 10th appearance of her NCAA tournament career. Looks inside again, doesn't get it. It's 3-1.
Deal trying to work that backdoor curveball inside to Larissa Pruitt. This is where Alabama's trying to improve from yesterday's game, trying to improve when they have runners in scoring position. Left 7 runners on base in yesterday's game.
Swift foul, and the count now full to Pruitt. 3-2 the count with 2 down. The runners will be off with the pitch, and the crowd should get a little louder here at Loves.
And this is what the Oklahoma pitching staff has done. They bear down with runners in scoring position. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kirsten Deal with runners on for Alabama. It's Deal just slamming the door shut.
With the facial expression that will be long remembered. 285-foot home run in the regional round against Cal, Madison Shipman.
The expression on her face, too, when she hit home plate, I guarantee her teammates were sitting there telling her, do you know just how far you hit the ball? It didn't just leave the ballpark. It completely exited the stadium, left a dent in the grass out there beyond the premises. We asked her, too, where that ranks as far as her furthest hit home run. She said that's the furthest home run I have ever hit.
Including batting practice,
including
by the
BP,
way.
yes.
Been there for a strike. It's 1-1.
That's the time where I thought you were going to ask me how far my furthest home run was. I was just happy if they barely made it over the wall.
You played in an era where they actually had to use a physical tape measure and walk it out after the game. You walked right into that one, you know, don't you? Now, we did a little scouting out beyond the bleachers in right field to see where that ball ended up, and that's a poke, 285.
Yes, that's a good shot out there to right field. One of those swings, too, where you just know it off the bat. You know it's out of the ballpark, but then to see just the distance that home run traveled, just kept going and going and going. Even fans turned around to watch it land on that back fence beyond the stands.
That's chopped to second. Backing up on it is Hevlin, and Parker is retired. One down here in the third inning. So good job by Riley to retire the leadoff. Last inning, the leadoff hitter walked for Oklahoma, and that was costly because Alabama has to play clean in the field. They have to find timely hits, still looking for that, and they cannot issue free passes. Those are the three must-haves for Alabama to walk out of Norman and head up the road to Oklahoma City.
And to your point, too, it was those two free passes that ended up coming around to hurt Bama in the second inning. Caitlin Riley with that first ground out, going back to that drop ball, goes back to the drop ball again. First pitch to Sydney Barker.
Two 2-0 to Barker, who grounded out in the first, brings a 6-game hitting streak into game 2 of the Super Regional. 8 for 17 during that stretch. Basically, she has hit her way into the lineup. Patty Gasso has been looking for ways to get her more involved, and this is why. Hard hit ball off the glove of Hawkins, and it's another hit for the freshman.
Sydney Barker in that at-bat only saw drop balls out of the hand of Caitlin Riley. Look at where Saylin Hawkins, the shortstop, is playing. She's playing more in that 5-6 hole, anticipating that Sydney Barker is going to come around and try to pull that drop ball to the left side. Instead, she keeps her hands inside of that ball long enough to drive it back up the middle past the diving glove of Hawkins.
Ball 1 to Gabby Garcia, who grounded out her first time. Garcia with 18 home runs, 54 runs batted in. Takes a ball, it's 2-0.
Pitching coach Lance McMahon for Alabama coming out to have a quick conversation after this count goes to 2-0 to Gabby Garcia. Pretty interesting, too. I know we're just 2 batters here into the third inning, but it seems like they've gone away from that off-speed pitch, throwing more of that heavy drop ball down in the zone. That's a pitch that she's had a ton of success with, along with that changeup, just continuing to be able to mix speeds throughout the ballgame.
Also reminding her of what worked against Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa in the regular season when Riley went 13 2/3, gave up just 1 run, and that included a complete game, 8-inning win in the series finale, and she struck out 5. It's a little different when you're pitching as a member of the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa compared to pitching in Norman, Oklahoma.
Almost probably feels the exact opposite, right? The fans have been loud and they have been dancing since the start of yesterday's ball game.
Hammered to right. It is out of here.
Gabby Garcia, the freshman shortstop for Oklahoma, with her 19th home run on the season. She gets herself into a good 2-0 hitter's count. She has a plan. She has a specific pitch that she wants to go after in this count, and she gets it. It's a hard drop ball in on the hands, but look at how quick her hands are moving through the zone. Able to turn on that one and drive that line drive shot out of the ballpark.
Garcia does it again. Hit it hard, 76 miles per hour on the exit velo. Didn't get very far above the turf here at Loves Field and got out in a hurry for home run number 19. We told the story about Gabby yesterday when we talked to her this week. Growing up, she just loved defense, and she came to Alabama thinking she'd be a defensive player. no idea that she would turn into a power hitter. She thought she'd be a table setter for this Oklahoma team, and she sets the table, but she knows how to clear the table.
And she said her swing is almost completely revamped from what it looked like when she came into the program in August, has just unlocked the power within her swing. 19 home runs as just a freshman. And it speaks volumes, too, when she's batting in the 4th spot for this lineup.
And the thing she had to work on, according to her teammates, was she had to slow down her home run trot. I mean, when you're going to hit 19 home runs, you don't sprint. You know, you gotta put it down into a lower gear and take your time. That's inside, misses for ball 4 to McEnroe Marinas. And she's aboard with 1 down here in the 3rd. And I think this might be a change here for Alabama in the circle. Garcia takes the home run lead back from Pickering.
Almost seems like it's a little bit of a battle between Garcia and Pickering for the top spot for home runs for Oklahoma, but just so much power in this Oklahoma lineup. And when you're able to get on base with those free passes, to have the bats in the middle of your order to capitalize, that's where Oklahoma's thrived this year.
So yesterday's starter for Alabama, who pitched very well, Jocelyn Brisky, coming on in relief for Alabama. Oklahoma on top by 3.
All the momentum for Oklahoma right now coming off of the bat of the freshman Gabby Garcia. Home run number 19, and the Sooners had the 3-0 lead.
Caitlin Riley heads to the dugout after throwing 52 pitches, 2 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs earned. She is responsible for McEnroe Marinas at first base as Jocelyn Brisky steps into the circle in the big spot. Alabama's season on the line, and I think you and I both agree. She did a fantastic job for Alabama in a hostile environment yesterday.
I thought she did a really nice job of mixing all of her pitches, but also just giving her team an opportunity to be able to come back in that ball game. Really just came down to 2 mistakes for Jocelyn Brisky. Outside of that, I thought she did a nice job of moving her pitches all throughout the zone. And now coming in a tough spot here with all the momentum on Oklahoma's side.
Starts with strike 1. Brisky went 5 yesterday, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, just 1 walk, 1 strikeout, hit a batter through 93 pitches. First batter she faces is Sanders. And this is headed towards the gap in right. Cut off by the center fielder, Vandegrift. First to third goes McEnroe Marinas. Oklahoma still putting on pressure here in the 3rd.
Just feels like the foot is down on the gas pedal for Oklahoma's offense. This is a 68-mile-per-hour drop ball, and you can see Sydney Sanders, the way she's able to keep her hands back behind that drop ball. That's what allows her to use her lower half to drive it with authority into that right center gap.
Ball 1 to Agbayani, who grounded to second in the 2nd. Sanders getting her first hit of the NCAA tournament. Agbayani lays down a beautiful bunt. No play for Alabama. 4-0 Oklahoma. Long ball, small ball, they can do it all.
You're seeing the execution, one batter after another. Nellie McEnroe Marinas over there at third base, taken off, squeeze bunt here, laid down perfectly. A bit of miscommunication, too, between Marley Giles and Abby Ducher. Abby Ducher was thinking she was going to try to get that out at the plate. Marley Giles was trying to tell her to get the out over at first. Because of that, no play is made. Everybody is safe, and another run comes across for Oklahoma.
Here is Emmerling. Big cut for strike 1. Pinch runner for Oklahoma, Cheney Helton running for Sanders. 1-1, looking to pick Helton off at second. Ball bounces out to the grass, but backed up by Vandegrift. Emmerling walked in the second inning. And now Patrick Murphy heads out to talk to Brisky in his infield.
And this is all about just trying to slow the game down. You can feel the game speeding up for Alabama, even on that last throw down to second base. I like the aggressiveness, but when the throw's down in the dirt, it kind of ricochets down to center field. And all of a sudden, that was another opportunity where maybe Oklahoma could have tried to advance the 60 feet. I think it was smart for Helton to go ahead and stay put at second base, but those little miscues, the miscommunication on the bunt, the play before, that ball going into the outfield, Coach Patrick Murphy's coming out just to settle things down, to slow things down for his defense.
Emmerling with a solid shot, 2 left, cut off by Johnson. 1 run is in. Agbayani heads to third. Another run scores for the Sooners. That's 4 this inning, 5-0 Oklahoma.
Since Jocelyn Brisky's come into this ball game, the Oklahoma batters are hunting that drop ball. That's the pitch that they're going after, and Isabella Emmerling does a nice job of dropping the barrel underneath and hits a hard line drive out into the gap to score another run. You'd imagine here, if you're Jocelyn Brisky, you got to try to throw more and more of those rise balls, even some curve balls, just to show them something different, because they are sitting right on that drop ball. When they see it, they're going after it.
Parker grounded out to start the inning, but then a single by Barker, 2-run home run by Garcia, a walk to McEnroe Marinas, a single by Sanders, the bunt single by Agbayani, the RBI single by Emmerling, who is replaced by a pinch runner, Tia Malloy, as Oklahoma in front 5-0 here in the third. Ball 1 to Abigail Dayton, who singled in the first run of the game. And then taking second is Malloy. Oklahoma keeping the pressure on in more ways than one right now.
Smile on Abigail Dayton's face up in the batter's box. Bit of a delayed steal. This is another example of the game speeding up again. Jocelyn Brisky, when she gets that ball back in the circle, just turns around, walks towards the back of the circle, and that's where Tia Malloy decides to take off and get to second base.
That's a strike to Emmerling. It's 1-1.
Infield defense playing up, trying to see if they can cut down that run on an infield ground ball. Abigail Dayton will do a couple of different things from the left side too. Even in this game, we've seen her walk through the box to slap. She will swing away. I'd imagine in this situation, she's going to stand up there and swing away with 2 runners in scoring position.
Fouls off the 2-1. 2-2 to the junior center fielder, who is 5 for 7 in the NCAA tournament. Waits on the pitch, solid single to center. Here's 1 run, and here's a second run, 2 more for the Sooners, and they're blowing it open here at Love's.
Looked like Jocelyn Brisky trying to bring in a little bit of an off-speed pitch, and you can see Abby Dayton, how she sinks into that front side. That corrects her timing just enough to be on time for that 61-mile-per-hour pitch to drive it right back up the middle and bring across another Sooner run.
Brisky faced 4 batters, gave up 4 hits, It was a lot to ask her to replicate what she had done yesterday, trying to do it on back-to-back days. So Patrick Murphy's going to make a pitching change. And the third pitcher of the game will come in now for the Crimson Tide. Interestingly enough, it's going to be Caitlin Riley who comes back into the game after she was pulled earlier here in this third inning. We'll step aside for a moment, then come back to Norman. Oklahoma rolling in the third. The starter is now a reliever for Alabama as they try to stop this Sooner run here in the third.
And for Caitlin Riley, I think she needs to go back to those off-speed pitches. It seems like Oklahoma is executing the game plan, going after more of the hard stuff. They were going after the drop ball out of the hand of Riley earlier in this game. They were going after the drop ball when Brisky entered the ball game. Got to try to throw something different. Try to get them to swing out in front and hit something off the end of the bat, because right now, with the way that they're swinging the bat, they are squaring everything up.
She comes in the face, who else but Cassidy Pickering, who did this on Friday.
Pickering gets his drop ball hanging right in the middle of the zone, and she does not miss. All over it, the first pitch that she saw in that at-bat, she went right after that drop ball.
That was against Brisky yesterday, so Riley back in, and she's 0 for 2 today against Riley. Struck out in the first on a check swing and grounded out to second in the second. This is sent out to right, dropping quickly for another Oklahoma hit. Sliding in safely in the second is Dayton. First and seconds for the Sooners. They bat it around here in the third as Parker comes back to the plate.
And it's the chess moves of the game plan between the pitcher and the hitter. And interestingly enough, in the previous two at-bats for Cassidy Pickering, she struck out on a drop ball. She hit a ground ball on a drop ball. That time she hunted the off-speed, and she drops it out there for a base hit.
Parker fouls it off. 7 hits this inning, Madison, and I think so far this series comes down to those timely hits. Alabama in this series 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Oklahoma just today 4 for 8 with 5 runs batted in.
And there really haven't been many mistakes made on either side, but Oklahoma has been able to capitalize on some of the free passes that Alabama has thrown in today's ball game. Two walks back in the second inning, 1 walk in this inning.
One and 2 the count to the top hitter for Oklahoma. Checked her swing, misses for ball 2, 2 and 2.
Taking a look at the side swing here. Yeah, she holds up there. Good hold.
Parker doubled in the first. Well, excuse me, swing everything. Coming up Sooners right now. Here's 1 run, a second run coming around. 2-run double for Ella Parker. Oklahoma 9-0 over Alabama.
Oklahoma is hitting everything right now. Doesn't matter if it's drop ball, if it's an off-speed pitch, they are all over it. Ella Parker gets an off-speed and smokes this one down the line. It ricochets off of the wall down there in right field. It allows a couple more runs to come across. And the Sooners still dancing over in that dugout.
And now another pitching change for Alabama. Haley Johnson will come on. She'll take a moment or two to get loose. There's a lot going on. I want to make sure Ella Parker stuck the landing at second base. Did she do so?
Was it a perfect 10 over at second base?
You're familiar with Oklahoma's success in softball. Well, they're national champions in gymnastics. They are big fans of the gymnastics team, and part of their celebration is the little move when they stick the landing in gymnastics. That's what they've been doing. They're such big fans that softball team has been over to root on the gymnastics team with those perfect 10 signs at the ready. Then the gymnastics team came over here after their national championship to celebrate with the softball team.
And Ella Parker did say when they were there at that gymnastics meet, Faith Torres, who's a gymnast for Oklahoma, ended up with a perfect 10 that night. So the perfect 10 signs worked for a 10 for Faith Torres. It's just fun to see how incredible both of those programs are, but how supportive they are of one another, too.
When we were talking to Ella, her eyes lit up when we talked about her 285-foot home run. Her eyes lit up when we talked about the success of this year's team, but they got really wide when she talked about how big of a fangirl she and her teammates are for the gymnastics team here at Oklahoma. And I'm sure the gymnasts are celebrating what's happening here at Love's, because the Sooners are getting what they want right now against Alabama, and Ailey Johnson will now come in and just try to slow things down here in the third inning.
Ailey Johnson came in yesterday's ball game as well. She's a pitcher that's well known for the changeup. She actually came in and threw a lot of the curveballs and the rise balls, but her pitches are going to move in a different direction than what Oklahoma saw from both Brisky and both Riley. Brisky and Riley known for the drop ball, heavy drop down in the zone. You're going to see a lot of changeups and a lot of upspin from Ailey Johnson.
Sydney Barker 1 for 2, single and a run score earlier this inning. And Johnson ahead in the count 0-2. Second appearance for Johnson. That's outside for a ball. Third overall appearance of the NCAA tournament for Johnson. Skips it up there for ball 2, 2-2. 11th batter of the inning for Oklahoma. Ground ball to third. Elstad to Dukeshire, 2 down. That ends a streak of 9 in a row, reaching for Oklahoma. Western Conference Finals continuing tonight, 8:30 Eastern. ABC, it's Game 3. The Thunder and the T-Wolves with OKC up 2-0. 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. Game 3 is tonight, 8:30 ABC. ESPN News will continue their Insight Cast with avatar shot charts and virtual 3D replays. We mentioned it yesterday. I'll bring it up again today. If the Thunder are in the NBA Finals at the same time that the Women's College World Series is happening at Devon Park, Maddie Shipman and the crew, they'll be on hand for the coverage of the Women's College World Series. Going to have a fun time.
Yeah, it's going to be rocking in Oklahoma City, that's for sure.
1-1 the count to Garcia, who had the 2-run home run earlier this inning. Two and one.
We talked a little bit about it earlier, but Gabby Garcia telling us her swing looks a lot different now than it looked when she came into Oklahoma in the fall. One of the things that she pointed out, too, that you can see is just how low her hands are behind her. She said her hands were up just a little bit more in her stance. But being able to use that in combination with her lower half, hitting coach JT Gasso, all about the swing mechanics and putting your body in the best position to unlock that power.
High fly ball to center field. Vandegrift under it, and that will do it for the Sooners. But they score 8 in the inning, and they're on top 9-0 here in a raucous Love's Field. Patty Gasso. Patty, you still have years of coaching left, but I'm going to let you live out a dream right now and be an analyst. How would you describe what just happened in that inning for your team at the plate?
One word that isn't a word, but I always use it like it is a word: clutchness. Clutchness was right there.
Coach, speaking of the clutchness, Abigail Dayton in the 9th spot for you guys came through yesterday. She's come through again today. Where have you seen her game evolve over the course of this season?
Yeah, she loves these big games, and she is the one that is speaking in our circle. So she loves the big moments and is made for it.
Patty, I'm going to call Merriam-Webster, the dictionary people right now. You'll have credit for clutchness
I would
by the
love
end of
that.
today.
It's a great word.
We got
Just
you
flows.
covered.
It flows.
Or we'll get it on a T-shirt, one or the
Oh,
other.
yeah. Great idea. Thank you, guys.
Patty. Appreciate it. I think the Sooner fans could build up enough momentum by the end of this game to get clutchness into the 2026 dictionary.
I like it. Almost think to add it to a stat sheet, too. The clutch factor.
Yes.
You know, I love to talk about that throughout the season,
different level of analytics for you. You're going to go in the clutch factor. Change in the defense for Oklahoma. Hannah Core in center field. Dayton moves over to right field. And Pickering looks like she's still out left. And she is. Deals to Vandegrift. Start things here in the 3rd.
Second time now through the order for Alabama. Going to see if they can try to figure out something against Kirsten Deal out there in the circle. Working a lot of those curveballs to both sides. Rise balls up in the zone.
0-2 to Vandegrift. In on the hands, little pop-up to Agbayani, and Vandegrift is retired. Again, that's been a big part of the Oklahoma game plan. Try to eliminate Vandegrift because her best weapon is her speed, and they're keeping her off the bases.
2 fly ball outs now for Vandegrift in this ball game. The last one went out to left field. That one looked like, again, a backdoor curveball in on the hands that she tried to inside out the opposite direction, but ends up getting jammed up and hits the fly ball over to second base.
It was a 30-minute wait for Kirsten Deal. I don't think she's going to complain when 13 of her teammates total at-bats have played appearances in that inning. Between 9 teammates. Johnson, a little squitter. Emmerling out in front. Throws her out, 2 down. Put 8 runs on the board.
Yeah, I was going to say, pitchers everywhere are going to go ahead and take the 8-run inning, even though you have to sit in the dugout for a little while. Pitchers are enjoying watching their teammates run around those bases and giving a nice healthy cushion for the next time that they do go out there to the circle.
Here's Callie Heveland. Takes ball 1. One thing we know about Callie, she won't go down without a fight in this game. Probably hasn't even taken a peek at the scoreboard.
And that's the way you have to look at it, too. You have to think that it's a nothing ball game.
That's how you do it for Alabama. Heveland lifts one deep to center field. It is gone. She will fight to the end. There's no question about it. Callie Heveland, her team best 15th home run of the season, and Alabama has their first run of the Super Regional.
It's a really good job of executing the game plan. This is a curveball that's on the outer half. She watched an off-speed pitch go by earlier in the at-bat. Looked like she was trying to time something up, some of the higher velocity pitches that you're going to see from Kirsten Deal. And she is all over that one. Gets right underneath it, gets that backspin, and gets that carry out there to put Alabama on the board.
Heveland now 5 for 10 in the NCAA tournament with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. Doing her part for the Crimson Tide, trying to get to the Women's College World Series for a 3rd straight season. Papillo grounded out her first time. Could not check her swing. It's 1-1. .238 feet. Sorry, Madison.
Yeah, 73 miles per hour off of the bat, too.
At the plate now for Alabama is a hitter. If she gets a hold of one, I'd like to see the numbers. Papillo's got 7 home runs this season. Had 19 last season playing at Northern Iowa. Pops this one up on the infield. McEnroe Marina's calling for it. Puts it away, and that will retire the side. But Alabama gets on the board here at Norman.
The Crimson Tide trying to chip away at this Oklahoma lead. Callie Heflin with her 15th home run gets Bama on the board. That's the mentality you have to have. You can't go up there and hit a 9-run, an 8-run home run. So you have to do whatever you can to just have a quality at bat, swing hard, like he said, and try to string some things together in this ball game because their season's on the line.
I think both head coaches gave us some good lines. Clutchness and who gives a rip. I mean, we got the front and the back of the shirt. Done.
There you go.
Print them.
Trademarked by Eric Freed right there.
Well, if I can get a cut in this day and age, I'll take whatever anybody's throwing around. McEnroe Marinas to lead things off. She's walked twice, scored twice. Top half of the fourth as Johnson throws ball 2. Two and one. I love it too when you ask questions to the head coaches, and it's pretty much what we were talking about during the half inning. You know, here's a player who is going to fight as long as there's being a ball pitched to her here in what she hopes is not the final game of her collegiate career. Little tapper. Pitcher can't grab it, and McEnroe Marinas is going to be safe. It's going to be a tough out no matter what, even if it was fielded cleanly by Johnson.
Haley Johnson having to run outside of the pitcher's circle, but I think she's going to be able to make that out in plenty of time if she fields it cleanly. She was the only one in the area to be able to make a play on that one. Those are the little things that have added up to some major runs for Oklahoma this game.
Ball 1 to Sanders. Ball 2. Sanders 1 for 2 today. High fly ball. The breeze might keep this one in play. May bring it back into fair territory. Right on the line is Dukeshire. She's got it for the out. 1 down here in the 4th inning. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball in New York City. Dodgers and Mets for the finale of the 3-game series. Citi Field tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern. ESPN Deportes and ESPN Radio. If the name of the batter at the plate sounds familiar, it should. Ilana Agbayani at the plates. And those of us of a certain age remember her dad, Benny. Played for the Mets, for the Rockies, for the Red Sox.
Career batting average of .274, too, for Benny as well.
Leave it to you to go digging into
Gotta dive
baseball
into the
reference
stats.
for the
Gotta
numbers.
dive into
Well
the
done.
stats.
Another connection to Sunday Night Baseball is Ella Parker, number 2 hitter for the Oklahoma team. Her uncle, Dave Roberts, is the Dodgers manager.
Do you think there's a little bit of a rivalry with this series going on? The Dodgers ended up taking game 1
I hope so.
last night.
I hope so. Although this time of year, I'm sure
They're locked into Super Regionals.
Agbayani and Parker are getting along just fine because they're teammates. And let the Mets and Dodgers figure their thing out. Yeah, they're on the same page right now. That misses for a ball, and Ilana is aboard for the 2nd time today. The play on the little tapper by McEnroe Marinas was scored an error on the pitcher Johnson, which you think is the right call.
Yeah, I think that's the right call.
Just the second error of the NCAA tournament for Alabama and their fourth error in the last 14 games.
Yeah, they've really cleaned up the defense. And that was another reason, too, why yesterday's ball game was so close, because the defense was making the plays behind Jocelyn Brisky.
That gets away from the catcher, Giles, and the runners will move up 60 feet.
Looked like a changeup out of the hand of Ailey Johnson, and maybe Marley Giles thought it was going to skip a little bit more on the ground. It just ends up hanging out right on that dirt, goes right between her feet, and gets all the way back to the backstop.
2-1. Three and two. You know, we just talked about the connection with Parker and Agbayani. I think there's going to be some really cool stories about connections as you're getting ready for the Women's College World Series. One's not a family connection, that is hooked foul, but the Texas Tech family connection. I'm enjoying the Patrick Mahomes leading the charge for the Red Raiders softball team. Every time I see a little something, he's rooting on Nigel Kennedy and her teammates, and here they are going to OKC.
Saw that video of him watching the game, trying to see the end of that ball game where Texas Tech advanced.
Pop-up going to head over the netting and out of play.
Cannot say enough about the job that Nigel Kennedy has done with that Texas Tech team. Head coach Jerry Glasgow. They were the 8th seed in the Big 12 tournament last season. Nigel Kennedy transfers to Texas Tech this year. They end up winning the Big 12 regular season, end up winning the Big 12 tournament title.
High fly ball to shallow center field. Vandergriff with the charge. Probably not deep enough to score the run. Vandergriff with a good throw to make sure of it. 2 down. We can start the campaign if it hasn't started already in Lubbock. Patrick Mahomes, you have an open invitation to join us in Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series. You may be seeing the player of the year who plays and pitches for your alma mater. You have to say plays and pitches because two-way player, much like Jordy Ball, who put on a show in Knoxville yesterday.
Nebraska coming out with a win. It was the Jordy Ball-Carlin Pickens matchup in that Knoxville Super Regional. Jordy Ball outstanding in every piece of the game. Clutch hitting, pitching, and then the base running as well. She was motoring around the base paths, diving into home plate with the Huskers with a big Game 1 win in Knoxville.
5-2 the final, Game 2 after us. As we continue this big day of softball in the Super Regional round on ESPN. 11 a.m. Eastern, 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m.
Just don't turn your TVs on.
That's out of play off the bat of Dayton. Why would you? Wall to wall.
Keep them on all day long. Multiple screens, too.
I like your style.
As many screens as I can possibly have open at one time.
Dayton 3 runs batted in today. Fooled on the pitch. Giles pumped up with what her pitcher did. Oklahoma unable to score. They strand 2, 8-run game heading to the bottom of the 4th. Won last night behind the great effort of Jordy Ball. That will be after us in Knoxville. There will be a Game 3 in Gainesville as well, as Georgia behind Lily Backus, who gave up 1 unearned run in 6 1/3 innings of work, wins in Gainesville by a final score of 2-1. So Georgia and Florida will meet tomorrow at a time to be determined in a winner-take-all Game 3.
I feel like Super Regional time, my mind goes straight to the head coaches and the decision that they're going to have to make as far as who's going to start in the circle for these teams. I look at that Nebraska and Tennessee matchup. Are we going to see Jordy Ball out there again getting the start for Nebraska? I know we were all sitting around watching the end of that ball game, asking the same question, would she start again? And by her emotions after that last strikeout, I would imagine we might see her again out there in the circle of Nebraska.
From what we know of Jordy Ball, you would have to wrestle the ball out of her hand, and I don't think 1, 2, 3, or 30 people are strong enough to do that. Take it away from Jordy. Elstad down on strikes. Deal gets the strikeout, one down here in the fourth.
Kirsten Deal, curveball working away from the lefty, Elstad. Throughout this game, you've seen her work that curveball on both sides of the plate, even inside to those left-handed batters. But then when she's able to throw that explosive curveball away from the barrels, that's when you're going to get those swings and misses.
Salem Hawkins doubled her first time up. She takes ball one. So a game 3 tomorrow in Gainesville, a game 3 tomorrow in Columbia, times to be determined. Game 3 tonight in Austin after Texas won in 10 innings against Clemson last night. That's a great example of how the pitching is going to play out in that Clemson-Texas winner-take-all game.
I'd imagine you'd see Tegan Kavan back out there getting the start in the circle for the Longhorns. Came in relief, like you mentioned earlier in that game, went 5 2/3, just gave up 5 hits, 0 earned runs coming in that ball game in relief. There was one inning in particular where the inning started off with back-to-back base hits off of Kavan, and then she shut them down immediately. No runs came across to score. Remember, in game 2 of the Super Regional, Texas was the visiting team, Clemson was the home team, so all it would have taken was 1 run to come across to end Texas' season. But she was able to hold them off, and Texas wins game 2 to head it to game 3 tonight.
9 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN. Hawkins slaps it out to right field. Coming on and making the play is Dayton. 2 down. That Oklahoma defense continues to shine here in Norman.
A little bit of a laugh between Abigail Dayton and Hannah Core out there in center field. Goes for the dive, actually snags this one before she lands on the ground. Being able to get to those line drives, especially when they're diving down towards the grass as quickly as they are, all of it depends on that read off of the bat. How quickly can you see the speed and direction of the ball off of the barrel? And she reads that one perfectly.
Remember, the game started for Dayton in center field. She moved over to right field, and her first chance had a high degree of difficulty to it.
And the line drives are going to move a little bit differently depending on where you're at in the outfield.
Here's Marley Giles, who walked her first time. 0-2. Deal with a nod of the head after getting the ball back from her catcher, Emmerling. Three strikeouts for Kirsten Deal, looking for a 4th here, and a 1-2-3 4th inning. The 0-2. Off speed for ball 1. Giles lifts a deep fly ball, left field. It is way out of here. Home run number 6 on the season for Marley Giles. That's a big one. It makes it a 7-run game here in the 4th.
One solo home run after another. Alabama chipping away at this Oklahoma lead. And this one looks like it's a rise ball trying to get in on the hands of Marley Giles. And she turns on it, gets barrel out in front. So she's making contact out in front of her and sends that one way out to left field. Now 2 runs for the Crimson Tide as they are trying to fight their way back into this ball game. Eric, that home run went 248 feet off of the bat.
Almost made it to that second deck out there in left field.
76 miles per hour off of the bat, too, with that exit velocity.
And typical catcher, no time for celebrating. I got to get the shin guards on.
Especially with 2 outs, right? You got to hustle, get the shin guards on, get ready to get back out there on the field.
We'll have a pinch hitter here for Alabama as Kendall Clark will step to the plate. Senior getting a chance here in the NCAA tournament. You can see one of the captains, leaders for this Alabama team batting for Dukeshire with 2 down here in the 4th. Giles fell behind in the count, 0-2. Ended in her favor with her 6th home run of the season. 2nd of the game for Alabama, 3rd of the NCAA tournament. Home run has not been a big part of the Alabama offense this year. That's popped up. Emmerling, play a ball, and it will drop in. Remember, the wind gusting quite a bit here, and that, when it came off the bat, looked like it was going to head for the netting, but it ended up pretty close to home plate.
It's been the infield fly balls that I've been keeping a close eye on the defenders, just watching their feet and how they move. There was a fly ball over to Nelly McEnroe-Marinas earlier in the game that started in foul territory, ended up in fair territory. That fly ball to Abby Dukeshire for Alabama over at first base, and you could see Isabella Emmerling on that play just dancing around back behind home plate trying to track him.
And you saw the look on Patty Gasso's face. She is not happy when moments like that happen. Even if the wind's blowing and the catcher's turning around, you have an out to get. You have to get it.
Very high standard of excellence for the defense.
2-1. Good pitch, 2-2. Remember, Alabama, the home team here in game 2 of this Super Regional. Right now down by 7 in the bottom of the 4th. Deal gets the strikeout, her 2nd of the inning, 4th of the game. Marley Giles goes deep for Alabama.
Giles, another home run on the board, another run on the board for Alabama as they are fighting for their season, still down 9-2.
Sooners win here today. Cassidy Pickering in Oklahoma heading to OKC in the Women's College World Series. She stands in to lead things off for the Sooners here in the 5th inning. Takes ball 1. 20th game for Pickering this season in the leadoff spot. I don't know if she's a prototypical leadoff hitter when you look at her power numbers and how she plays, but there's not many holes in that swing, if any.
And I think with the way that she swings it, you're thinking you want to get her as many at-bats in the ball game as possible. So you put her right up there in the leadoff spot. But she said it was an adjustment for her as far as game plans go, going into that leadoff spot to set the tone for the rest of the lineup. She said typically when she was batting a little bit lower in the order, she would see what the pitcher was throwing her teammates and kind of form her game plan depending upon those first few batters of the ball game. But then when you're in the leadoff spot, you're that person that's seeing the first couple of pitches from the opponent. You're the one that's helping form the game plan for your teammates.
Fly ball to Vandegrift, center fielder has it. One away here in the top half of the 5th inning.
And although it might be an adjustment for her, I would say that she has done a fantastic job for the Sooners in the leadoff spot.
1 for 4 today, 7 for 14 in the NCAA tournament with 4 home runs and also 4 walks. So you want that in a leadoff hitter. She's getting on base a ton. Not this time, though, as Johnson doing a good job out of the bullpen for Alabama, just trying to keep the score where it is right now and hope her teammates can chip away over the next couple of innings. Ball 1 to Ella Parker. A couple of doubles for Parker today. She's 2 for 3 with 2 runs batted in. If Oklahoma were to score here in the top half of the 5th inning, the pressure would firmly be put on Alabama because it would be an 8-run lead, the run rule in effect. And if Alabama down by 8 after batting in the 5th inning, that would be it for the ball game. Right now, the deficit is 7, so Alabama right here needing to keep Oklahoma off the scoreboard in this 5th inning, guaranteeing we'll play on beyond the 5th.
Eric, you know I love to just dive into swings because everybody swings just a little bit differently. And one of the things that stands out about Ella Parker's swing is the split grip that she goes into when she grips the handle of the bat. There's about an inch or two of separation between her hands, and I asked her about that. That's something that she has done throughout the course of her career. She said it's something that helps her get barrel and bat control through the zone.
That's line foul.
And she's trying to hit those low line drives, and that's a prime example of the low line drive with that top hand control moving through the zone.
So you've got the hands too, but you also have to have the words. You can see Ella sometimes talking to herself, and she says to herself, "Stay loose, 5. Stay loose, Ella." Little self-talk, just that reminder to stay loose at the plate.
Yeah, trying to step into the batter's box with an empty mind. She said she creates the game plan when she's in the dugout, but when she steps in the box.
Parker has done it again here at Love's. Another tape measure shot, and Oklahoma is on top by 8. I'd say 5 was loose. Cut her loose. A step closer to OKC.
And she might be thinking with that split grip, that barrel control, hitting those low line drives, but she has hit some monster shots out to right field, and this is another one, 252 feet off of the bat, all over this pitch, fouled off a couple the opposite way, gets her timing down and sends that one deep out to right field to extend the Sooners' lead.
Not the look of shock that we saw in the regional round after that 285-foot home run. Hannah Kaur at the plate for the first time. She joins the party at the plate with the base hit to right with 1 down. Home run number 13 on the season for Parker. She's 3 for 4 today. All 3 hits, extra base hits. 3 runs batted in.
77 miles per hour off of the bat too. That's where you get that effortless power when she swings at a pitch. Just so much natural power that she possesses that it almost looks like she doesn't even have to try to get it to go 77 miles per hour off of the bat.
You can see the ace of the staff for Oklahoma, Sam Landry, enjoying the party here at Love's Field. Gabby Garcia hit one of those home runs today. She's 1 for 3, giving her 3 home runs in the NCAA tournament. 6 runs batted in. Gets away from the catcher, Giles. Kaur with seconds. Two and 2 to Garcia. Garcia is one of those hitters who struggled in that regular season series against Alabama, but those struggles are long forgotten. She goes deep again, a 2-run shot. Oklahoma keeps the party going here in Norman.
How about not 1, but 2 home runs for the freshman Gabby Garcia in this super regional game. Home run number 20 on the season for number 42. You just hear this crowd erupting with every swing of the bat. Just feels like all game long you've seen Oklahoma barrel up pitches. Doesn't matter if it's an off speed, doesn't matter if it's a drop ball, curve ball, rise ball, you name it. They are ready for those pitches and they are hammering them.
Patrick Murphy back out to the circle, going to make a pitching change. Johnson was battling, was getting the Sooners out, but you can only do that for so long against this Oklahoma team that has gone deep again. Gabby Garcia. 2 home runs in the inning for the Sooners. 2 home runs in the game as someone fished that ball out of the juniper bushes in center field. So during this pitching change, we have a chance to check in with Matt in the studio. Nights. Looking forward to all the drama that's going to unfold as Alabama makes a pitching change, as the Oklahoma attack has kicked it into another gear here today. They came into this game with 111 home runs, Madison Shipman, 9 in the NCAA tournament. Today they got the home run in the 3rd from Garcia. They get a home run in the 5th from Garcia. They got the home run from Parker to add to the impressive total as Emily Winstead tries to settle things down.
That was one of the areas, too, home runs as a team on this season. When you talk about the consistency across the board for Oklahoma this year, top 30 when it comes to team ERA, top 20 when it comes to team batting average, top 10 when it comes to team fielding percentage, and coming into today's ball game, top 3 in home run total on the season.
Popped up foul ground and in the netting, unable to grab it is Duksher. 1-0 the count to McEnroe Marinas. So 12 home runs in the NCAA tournament, Madison. 114 on the season. It's the 6th straight 100 home run season for Oklahoma. And I think even if you ask Patty Gasso, look, Patty, your wildest guess, how many home runs would you have by game 2 if you're happy and fortunate enough to make it to the Super Regionals in round 2? I don't think she would come up with 114 with all the firepower she lost from a year ago and the freshmen and the newcomers in this lineup. But here we are, and here they are.
I think even when you ask some of the players, like when we talked to Gabby Garcia, seeing herself more of a table setter for this lineup at the beginning of the year, but I would say that the 20 home runs speaks to more of the power that you see from Gabby Garcia.
Yeah, cleaning your plate. That's popped up, and that's going to head out of play as well. McEnroe Marinas walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Did so again in the 3rd when 13 came to the plate for Oklahoma. Reached on an error in the 4th. Three and 2. Winstead transferred in from UNC Wilmington, where she won 13 games a season ago. Got the start against Jackson State in the NCAA tournament opener in Tuscaloosa. Went 4 innings in that game, didn't give up a run. This is sent deep to center field, and get the tape measure out again. It cleared the bushes. McEnroe Marinas goes deep. 3rd home run of the inning, 4th of the game.
What's impressive, too, is just how quickly Oklahoma can change their game plan, change their swings. Emily Winstead comes into the ballgame, going to throw more high up in the zone. Curveball, rise ball combination, and Nelly McEnroe Marinas is ready for it. She is all over it. 67 miles per hour up in the zone, and she times it up to send it way out to center field.
I hope Ella Parker was one of the first ones to greet the freshman, because she gave Ella a run for her money at 268 feet.
68. You didn't even have to run into the bushes for that home run. It cleared the bushes. It made it all the way out.
No. Landscape wasn't damaged.
Nope.
This is how I did it.
But look at the communication even still. Comes right back into the dugout. Talking, hitting all game long. You would think, too, looking at a lot of the batters and their hand positioning, just how low their hands are when they go to load them back, that they might not be able to get to those high-velocity up pitches, but they're still able to level out their barrel, get the backspin and the carry on the rise balls, and send them way out of the ballpark.
Sanders strikes out looking, 2 down here in the 5th. Looks like we'll have a pinch hitter for the Sooners as the sophomore Maya Bland will step in.
Maya Bland had a big pinch hit home run off of Jocelyn Brisky in that series earlier this year. It was the game that Oklahoma won, game 1 of that 3-game series.
Well, I think as you've been able to tell, that series was very important for Oklahoma and the success they're having right now. They hit 190 in the series. Alabama played really good, clean softball and took 2 out of 3. And it was a wake-up call for Oklahoma. Patty Gasso said she had to remind her team of what the rivalry with Alabama is, and you think about it through the years. And we talked about it at length yesterday in Game 1, the 2012 Women's College World Series matchup. The last time that Oklahoma didn't make it to the Women's College World Series was when they lost the Supers in Tuscaloosa. There's a rivalry. They played big moments on a national stage against each other. So Gasso had to find that little reset button for her team. And I think they've responded pretty well since that Alabama series.
Yeah, the team just realized that they weren't playing Oklahoma softball in that series. And there was some indecision is the way that Coach Patty Gasso phrased it, specifically with their swings against the Alabama pitching staff and recognizing how they felt in those moments too. It's important to be able to learn from those series because you want to learn from it and adjust. And when you get into a moment down the line in season where you start to feel those feelings coming back up again, how quickly can you turn that to focus to make sure that the same result doesn't happen as what happened earlier in the year?
Ball 4 to Bland. And a couple of players were very honest about the atmosphere at Rhodes Stadium, that they hadn't played in that kind of setting before where 4,400 people are against you. We're used to, when you're here in Norman, 4,400 people are with you. And that was an adjustment. Garcia was one who talked about it. She went 0 for 10 in that series, and she said, I didn't handle things very well. So she was determined to flip the script here, and she certainly has with 2 home runs here today. Corey Hicks will come to the plate now, pinch hit for Emmerling. Conversation with Lance McMahon out in the circle talking to Emily Winstead. Caitlin Riley started, was relieved by Jocelyn Brisky, who was the Game 1 starter. Riley came back in for Brisky before giving way to Ailey Johnson. And now Winstead in the circle for Alabama. And the freshman from San Jose, Corey Hicks, at the plate. Hicks had a memorable moment in the NCAA tournament. She had the walk-off home run to end the game in the 5th inning against the BU Terriers here at Loves Field last weekend. Oh, 2 the count to Hicks. Swung on a miss. Hicks strikes out to end the inning. But a hat trick of homers for Oklahoma.
Oklahoma just adding on to the score, showing off their power. Ella Parker getting things started with a shot out to right field. Then it's Gabby Garcia, Nelly McEnroe Marinas, 3 home runs in the 5th inning alone for the Sooners. Absolutely explode. Home runs leaving the ballpark left and right.
New battery for Oklahoma as Sam Landry, the senior, not Sam Landry, she was the starter yesterday. Audrey Lowry, he tried to say. That would be something if Sam Landry came on. But Audrey Lowry, the freshman, has come on for the Sooners. And Corey Hicks is back behind the plate to catch. Pitch hitter for Alabama, Monty Hubbard, fouls it off for strike 1. Oklahoma 3 outs away from a victory. Alabama down by 11. They'd have to close the deficit to 7 for this game to move on beyond the 5th inning. Lowry, the freshman from Pittsburgh, Indiana. Ground ball to third. McEnroe, Marinas. One down. When we're done here in Norman, we will get you to Knoxville for the Game 2 showdown between Nebraska and Tennessee. Here's Audrey Vandergriff. Vandergriff with a fly ball to right. Dayton has it. 2 down. Alabama down to their final out. And the crowd here at Loves Field rises to salute their Sooners. 4,564 here in Norman. Ready to send this Sooner squad to OKC. Lauren Johnson 0 for 2 today. One and two. The thoughts going through Patty Gasso's mind, thinking about how far this team has come to get to this point. Ground ball up the middle. Alabama not done yet. Lauren Johnson with the base hit. You know who's thrilled about that? Callie Heavlin. You know she wanted one more at-bat in her college career, and that guaranteed it for Heavlin.
Had a great swing in her last at-bat, went yard in this ball game. What a phenomenal season that Callie Heavlin has had, too, in her senior year.
Home run was her 15th of the season. She takes ball one. Heavlin walked in the first, homered in the third. 5 for 10 in the NCAA tournament with a couple of homers. 2-0. Spun in for a strike. It's 2-1.
And the freshman for Oklahoma getting some super regional experience too, coming into this ball game, trying to shut the door.
Heavlin comes through again. Base hit for the senior. She's 2 for 2 today.
Lowry tries to come back with that off-speed pitch, 56 miles per hour on the outside part of the plate, and Heavlin is ready for it. Got to be so many emotions, too, when you're standing in the batter's box. Knowing that your team is down to 2 outs, down big in this ball game, and she's still able to come through. Just shows you the leadership that she has brought to this program.
Just giving you an idea of the struggle for Alabama at the plate against Oklahoma. That's the first time in these 2 games they've had back-to-back hits. That hit by Heavlin was the first hit for Alabama with runners on base. They are 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 1 for 14 with runners on base after that Heavlin base hit. Alexis Papillo. 2-0.
I think those numbers, too, speak a lot to the job that you've seen from the Oklahoma pitching staff, settling in when Alabama gets any momentum, settling in when there are runners on the base paths.
There's a strike. It's 2-1. Little squib left side. Tough play. On the first. McEnroe Marinas ends it with a strong play. The four-time defending champions will defend their title in OKC. Oklahoma wins the Norman Super Regional.